if you travel out of this country and you go to other countries which are developed, you know that people pay taxes.
But things are really
people
out
pay
of
taxes.
hand.
So for us saying we shouldn't pay taxes, I don't know. In this country, many of us don't think taxes are a good thing. But a country which is going to grow, we need to pay taxes.
About soap, which has been 4,500, now it's 10,000.
Now we need to also look at the other dynamics of production. What's happening? Because it may not be that the government is the reason, but because the factors of production have increased. For example, if you have no fuel is high, you have maybe all these other factors that factories need to make soap, to make everything sugar, and they are going up, then they will most likely also increase.
Wow.
But for me, I do not agree that as citizens we don't pay tax. We should pay tax because many developed countries have developed because of paying tax.
Taxes.
And citizens, as a Christian, I say let's pay tax because when we pay tax, our countries will grow.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Please introduce yourself. And we've taken time minus seeing you on Morning Glory.
Really?
How have you been?
I've been fair. Fair is not bad, maybe not good, because the new year beginning. Praise the Lord and good morning our viewers on Church of Uganda Family TV. What a joy to be back. My name is Reverend Rukundo. I work with the Provincial Secretariat of Church of Uganda in Namirembe. I coordinate youth and children's programs for the Provincial Office of Church of Uganda. It's always a blessing for me to be here, this show with Brenda. And I want to appreciate you, our viewers. I want to appreciate Family TV for, they've grown on, and I'm glad that we're part of this growth.
Wow.
And despite the challenges around us, God is still God of our lives. So we don't have to worry, to be anxious to. I keep saying that all the time, that God is still our God. And He doesn't want us to worry, to be anxious, to be, I think we need to be patient, more seeking Him, more. And this time is a time of Lent. As a church, we are in the time of Lent, so we are seeking the Lord. Yeah. So if you have been eating too much, you can take some time to us. If you've been washing too much, maybe you need to cut down. I think we need to cut down
on washing,
on everything that we've been doing extravagantly, so that we seek the Lord and we can see how to discipline ourselves. Because we know at one time in this country there are times when the things were not there at all. I grew up in that time when we had no sugar, we had no soap, we had to line up for certain things.
But you grew up eventually.
Yeah, we grew up. So now that we have them in abundance, I think we also need to learn to know that sometimes we're not as much as we would want.
Yeah, so Reverend Rukundo, today we're talking about, because it's a Women's Month, and the theme of this year is gender equality, today for a sustainable tomorrow. Yeah, under that theme there is understanding, breaking the bias. So how are we breaking the bias, or how are we putting equality between, or opportunities, equal opportunity between the girl child and the boy child in church? How is that being done in church?
Thank you, Brenda. I think the church, to start with, we are one of the unfair institutions, and I want to say that.
Unfair institutions?
Yes, because I think in terms of gender, many leaders of the church are men.
Many
From the Archbishop of below, we have very many more men than we are women.
True, it is true.
So that's for me is a big concern, that equal in terms of opportunities, I don't know whether the church will do very well, because most of our leadership from top, bottom.
Why is it like that?
I think
is it
because
that
of our...
You're not yet believing in us?
No, I think it is because of the... And I think we've tried opening up, although we haven't got a woman bishop in Anglican Church of Uganda. But I think it's also tradition, the church tradition over the years, and what it has been. Men have been in the lead. Unfortunately for me as a minister for young people, I get trouble because most of our churches are full of women and children. And yet the leaders are the men. So I keep saying, how come churches are full of women and children?
And according to stats,
then the leaders are men.
According to stats, it's women take a percentage of 17 to 20%.
Of the leaders.
Yes, of the leaders.
And that's for us, I think, is still small.
Very.
And I know that, for example, when you have venerable, an archdeacon who's a woman, it's not very common, but we have now some. It's not common to have maybe the secretary who's a woman. Those are not very, very many. Those are offices which are like the higher offices in the church. So when I say we are not doing very well in terms of equal opportunities, I think that's very true. But I believe that the whole society and community has encouraged us now to appreciate that gender participation or gender involvement is something we can't do away without. And I'm glad that now we are seeing, even as a Church of Uganda, we actually have a gender office now, a gender officer at the provincial office of Church of Uganda. And I think for me that's helpful, that we are able to begin thinking about how do we get our young girls, our mothers, our women to be part of our ministry, not just as receivers, but also as participants, as leaders taking part. And I think as a church, we've been more vocal these days on talking about gender-based violence. And of course, we know that gender-based violence affects more the girls and the women. So coming out as a church, the Archbishop, the gender officers, the clergy, coming out to say gender-based violence is not something we as a church allow or agree with, and it's not something we should do. I think it's a good point. We're starting very well to say, look, we should do. But what I feel we need to do more is to see how do we help our girls who are getting more delighted, our women who are more educated, to get able to the same competitive level. Because for example, when you have 90% of the clergy as men, then I think we are also not fairly treating women, because women are the majority in the church. And for example, I've said as a counselor, also I find it very troubling that women will come to us, for example, for help. And the other day I was talking to one of the ministers, I said, so if women come to us for help, how do we help them to get help with other genders? So we're not the only ones helping. So as a church, I think we've not been doing very well. And just the church-based institutions are not very, very good in terms of engaging women to be on the leadership. But I think from our tradition, things are changing a little bit. We can see more involvement of clergy who are women at every level, but I think the numbers are still very minimal still.
So Reverend, why is it that when a man is assertive, he's seen as courageous and confident, yet when a woman is like assertive, he's seen as someone who is bossy, who is aggressive? Why is it still that, like, it's still there in the church even up to now?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that also has to do a lot more with our culture and how we have been brought up. We are being brought up to believe that when a woman is self-expressing, then they are not there. And that's why I think some people even are not very comfortable with it. I've gone to communities where they don't want to educate girls, because they say educated girls become assertive, aggressive, they're able to express themselves. So say, you want to educate your girl? No, that means you want to make them. So that fear of, and I think it comes from our background of our culture, and where we have come thinking mothers, women are always to be humble, to be listening, to be not to, even when it is paining you, you don't respond. Even when you have something to express yourself, you don't talk. But I think also, and I want to send this out to the women who are already in leadership and who are already educated. How do you express yourself? So if Brenda, you're an educated woman, how do you treat yourself? Do people look at you and say, she's educated, but she's still a humble woman? So that we don't look at it like, when people get educated, they become, when they get money, they become, because I think there are also role examples, and I like the church because we use a lot of role modeling and examples, good examples. If you are educated and you are up there and you're emancipated, how do you treat yourself? Are you an example for every parent to say, yes, I want you to become that woman who is humble, who is able to express. Even when they're educated, they are still able to calm down. And we've seen many educated women who calm down still, and their mothers at home there. But there's also assumption that when I get liberated and I'm now educated, I don't have to wash dishes, I don't want to cook, I don't want to, so I live a life which is different. But you're still a mother. So I think we need, it's two-faced for me. The first place is where we're coming from, as in terms of our culture and what has shaped us even growing up. But also I think those who have gone ahead and become the educated, emancipated women, their example has not been a good learning example for these ones. So the young people say, I don't want you to become like so and so. You become like Brenda, because when Brenda goes on TV, she becomes proud and she's arrogant and doesn't want to. So then I think that's also very important for us as community, learning from one another, to appreciate that families, girls want to learn from people who are growing and humble and being able to achieve, but also keep themselves in the model that God wants them to be.
Yeah, and then another issue about the pregnant girl child their teenage mothers have. Like the people that are responsible of impregnating them, for them they are in school. So I don't see any equal opportunity there between the girl child and the boy child.
I know we are guilty as a church. Thank you, Brenda. I want to confess as a church that I know we have come out to say we don't allow those girls in our institutions, and I'm guilty because I feel like it's not fair. I think every child has an opportunity to grow and get to achieve their full potential. Every child, whether male or female. I think our concern has been as a church that girls who are pregnant or have given birth can go back to school, but when they are still breastfeeding, heavy or expectant, it's difficult for them to be accommodated in the school setting as is now. Because the schools expect you to go to class, to go to run, to get food. And we all know a pregnant mother needs care, needs love, needs even that trauma which the other students are giving on you. You know, the other students are saying, you see here, you see how she's looking. That alone traumatizes you, just the mother, not just the mother, but also traumatizes the baby that you're carrying. So I think coming out to say, look, while we accept that girls need to go back to school and complete school, I think it's also important today that in the state where they are either breastfeeding or still expectant, it's going to be difficult for them, many of them, to really find school setting very accommodative. But I think also the church, sometimes we are too hard. And I want to say this, confess, as a children's worker, as a youth worker, but sometimes we're too hard. I know some of our priests, some of our leaders who have become too hard, and and sometimes I ask myself, I say, if it was my daughter, Brenda, what would I have done? Because I keep saying to the leaders, and if you're listening to me and you are a church leader, my challenge would be, if you had a daughter who got pregnant, how would you handle it? And by the way, one of the things I was telling my church leaders was, it was unfortunate to know some of the priests, some of the lay readers, some of the clergy who chased away the daughters because they got pregnant. You have ashamed me. You know I'm a priest. You know I'm a lay reader. You know, but you know this girl is not a mistake. And even this baby she's carrying is not their problem. Not a mistake. So when we start looking at our positions, as opposed to the children God has given us, I think that's unfair for us. What people see, you know, that I'm a priest, I'm the bishop, I'm the lay reader, I am whatever. I don't, you know, you're shaming me now, leave my home. Now that's really unfortunate. And if there is any clergy who has done that, may the Lord forgive you and may you repent. If you've chased away your daughter because she got pregnant from your home, because you're a church leader, because you're a religious leader, may the Lord forgive you. I think these children need our love, need our care at every point. So it starts from home. Before even we go to school, let's start from home. How have you allowed that girl who got pregnant into your home? How have you accepted them? Because we know the boys who made the pregnant out there. The other day I was in a workshop in, I think was it in, where was I? And then someone saw us and said, I know of a reverend who pregnant, I think it was Kamwenje somewhere. And someone said, I know of a reverend's son who made a girl pregnant. And I almost said, I hope the reverend is not here, because he said, I know of a reverend's son who made. So my heart was saying, okay, what do we think about that reverend's son? Is he feeling guilty? Does the father say you also have a responsibility? You have made someone's daughter pregnant, you also have a responsibility.
You have to take care of them.
So if it was your son who made someone's daughter pregnant, what do you say to them? Because equally they are responsible.
True.
So for me, I think before we put the blame on the girls who got pregnant, it is to appreciate them that they are still our children, they have not committed a crime, and these are our children. So we need to love them, need to share with them. And my prayer would be that as a church, we are more receptive, more encouraging, because we know the boys are out there, sometimes they're pregnanting more girls, and here the girls are here being traumatized and tortured. It's not their fault. I think we need to encourage them, pray for them, make them realize that yes, it's possible to make it in life, despite the pregnancy or the child.
Yeah, and then Reverend, when we're talking about gender equality and equal opportunities, we're not going to leave alone the girls or the women out there who are still having underpay. We do the same job, we're on the organization, we're in the organization, we're doing the same job. Let's give an example, me and Byron. And then me, I'm underpaid, and then for him, we are doing the same job. Because I'm a woman, I'm underpaid.
That's very unfortunate, Brenda. I'm not condone it. It's a wrong thing for a lady to do the same work with a man, and then the man is paid. I think it's very unfair. And if there's a Christian organization doing it, I think it's very unfair. But of course, I've also complained that we don't have to say expect women to do the secretarial job, the cleaning jobs only. Why you saying the women must only do those jobs? The other day I was seeing girls saying, I'm going for nursing. I said, but must all the girls go for nursing? I know boys also go for nursing. But you know, I'm like, if they can go for something better, let them go. Who said that nursing is the only thing they can go for? But you know, the mindset of thinking that, you know, if you're a woman, you're the one going to do the cleaning, the cooking job, the what. But I can't say
even our mindsets are on that.
On that. So I think also, first of all, that we have been skewed as a community, a society, to believe that women should do certain jobs which are also low paying. Then men can do the hard jobs which are more paying. Now that's very unfortunate, because I believe that we have more women who have capability to do everything and actually work and achieve. And we've seen our girls, they're educated, many women are educated, and they're able to do much more. So I think we need to change our mindset to believe that, you know, it's not about what they do or how they look like. They also have responsibilities. So for me, I'd look at it to say, if you're doing the same work, be paid the same amount of money. If you're in the same level, be paid the same amount of level. Because actually you're serving the same way. So I believe in the church we need to pull up. If you have clergy who are women, who are men, they should be actually at the same level. So we shouldn't mistreat. So I don't think that's right for us to say that you are a lady, so get
I
all that.
I do not have responsibility.
Yeah, I do not. And I think young women who are growing up, mothers who are growing up, nurture your children to do anything, to do everything. They can be truck drivers, they can be bus drivers. I've traveled in other countries and I see truck drivers who are women and bus drivers who are women, and they're doing all kinds of jobs now. So I think it is really not right to think that because she's a lady, she should do only nursing job or maybe sweeping job or a cooking job. No, I believe that you have the capacity, just like men can cook, men can do all the work that we can do. The only thing we can do is give birth, to be in the maternity ward, but otherwise in terms of everything else, the women are able to do. So for me, I believe that you are able, like we are able, you have the capability, and so we should support you. And our girls are out there, aim for the highest. Aim for the highest. Because when you aim for the highest and become an engineer, doctor, a reverend, you'll earn the same amount. Otherwise, if you aim for the lowest, then you will of course not earn the highest. So I want also to encourage our young people who are out there pursuing careers, aim for the highest. So that you can actually get that which you deserve because you are in that position. Qualified.
Wow. And then Reverend, another thing, don't you think that sometimes it's a role of parents, sometimes bringing down their children? Because there is a mother there, that side, I know of, whenever the boy child wakes up and maybe does like some household chores, it's like, let these girls do all that work. That is not your work. That is not your work. Please go and sit. Go and watch TV. Don't you think that what is the role of parents in breaking the bias?
And actually, if you are a parent and you're listening to me out there and you have boys and girls, teach them the roles together. I am glad I grew up with my mother in Mahooro as a young boy, and I was the eldest boy of six sisters. But I learned how to cook, I learned how to do every work at my home. And by the way, when I went to university, I appreciated my mother because I knew how to cook for myself. I could do everything. I was a non-resident student, so I learned how to do everything. And up now, I'm proudly one of those who can do anything. So if you are a parent out there and you're training this boy to just become someone who's served, you don't know where the world they will end. They may end in a world where they need to cook for themselves in an apartment and they are students and they need to cook for themselves. So I think it's unfortunate that you have a parent teaching a boy not to work. Actually, if there's a boy, teach them also to cook, teach them to sweep, clean for themselves. Gone are the days when men were there, kids seated and they are going to be served. I think the boys that we have now must learn all the careers, all the cures at home, because parents, we must see them work together, just like the girls do. So it's very unfortunate to hear a parent who would say, you're a boy, don't cook, you're a boy, don't sweep, you're a boy, don't do this, because I think that attitude is the wrong one. Because out there, the world that they're going to be faced is not a world where they will be served. The world is transformed, people live alone, they work, they cook, you are a married man, you need to learn how to cook, learn how to do work, learn how to clean for yourself. So I think if you're a parent out there and you have boys, equip them because it is for their good. Actually, by you not equipping them with job, they will one day regret and feel like, I wish my mother taught me how to sweep, I wish my mother taught me how to wash, I wish my mother taught me how to cook. So for me, I'm grateful because my mother taught me and I have never regretted. I felt like it was a blessing to grow up with girls and learn how to do all these jobs as a boy. It helped me, equipped me, and I'm a man and I'm who I am now because I'm able to do all the things. I can still wash for myself my laundry, I can still clean up and mop in the whole house, I can still do everything, and I'm glad they're able to do that because I don't feel any difference. So I think it is unfortunate if you have a parent out there who would think that because the boys are boys, they're not supposed to do certain jobs. I think you as a parent need to change your mindset. Equip this boy for the future because the world out there needs them to actually know how to survive, and the survival will depend on what they can do even in their home.
Let's talk about a little bit of sexual harassment. When we talk about opportunities, there are women or ladies who go to organizations and seek opportunities, but the bosses, maybe they tell them that for me to give you this opportunity, however much you have the books, I have to sleep with you. So there are ladies out there who have succumbed to sexual harassment in seeking equal opportunities. Yet the men they'll be like, hey, you have the books, it's okay.
I think that again takes me, Brenda. It's very unfortunate that we as a community still encourage that. And I think it doesn't happen only in Uganda or it happens everywhere. That there is gender exploitation for the girls, which is very unfortunate. Even I know in schools, people give marks for girls who... And I think sometimes I also challenge the other gender that please work hard. Work hard, know who you are. Do not allow anyone to demean you. If you are a girl out there and you're listening and you are able and you're one of those whom they are putting pressure that before I give you a job, stand for who you are and say, you know, I qualify. I am good. I'm not going to do this because of this. Because let me tell you, when you start this job, when you are being sexually abused, it will become follow you. These marks, if you get them by sex, the sex marks will follow you because even when you get out there. So I think we also need to empower our young people to be able to assertively stand out for who they are. Do not allow for. I think some people have also said, I can give. I know if she asks, I can give for the job. One man was talking about how a lady was saying, you know, for this job I will do anything. And you know, so you do anything means what? Say whatever the boss wants I will give because I want this job. Now you already have options of saying if I don't get the job I must do this. I think as a young woman out there listening, I would encourage you to stand for who you are. Know your position. Do not accept to be weighted. And if you are a man out there and you're taking advantage of this, I think we need to expose this. Both in the church, in our government institutions, expose it. If someone does that to you, I think they actually deserve to be punished. It's against the law that someone should actually be able to take advantage of you because they have a job for you. That's very unfortunate. So if you are a young girl, looking for a job, I think get there and be confident. Tell them off their face, I will not accept that. And we should be able to be bold, to build our young people to be bold enough. So this is not acceptable. It's not acceptable, and I think I don't agree with it. That, you know, our girls, our women should get out there and get jobs because they have been sexually assaulted or someone has taken advantage of them in their sex. It's a bad culture. It's something we should stand against. It's something we shouldn't encourage in any workplace. But also let us empower young people. And for me, because I'm working with young people, my role is to empower them. Say, young girl, get out there and be confident. Know who you are. Do not allow someone to give you anything because of who you are. Hey, I'll take advantage of you. If you do not want, do not want. Just tell them clearly, I don't want, and I'll not accept that. So keep your job, I'll not accept it. I think it's a good idea for the girls also be bold and say, I will not want. So if they do not accept, then they will not. Because I also think there are those who offer. Someone is offering, then if you're offering and then someone is offering, I think it's very bad. Yeah. Much as the men are also, if someone asks, the best way to do is say no. And say, I know my position. Better I suffer through, but I will not accept this because of what they are. So that you don't demean yourself. Otherwise, when women do that, even you who does it and says, me, I did it and I got the job. My dear, you have now put women at a different level. You have lowered your status for them. So next time the woman comes, they say, but the other one did it. What about you? So for me, I think that if all women said no, then we would know that we have a society where people say no, that I will not accept anything to do with a sexual favor for me to get what I deserve. If I deserve it, I qualify, give it to me. Because next time there will be another woman, next time there will be my sister, there will be my friend, there will be whatever, and they should come and get what they deserve. So even when you're a woman out there and say, for me, after all, I did it. And I've told many mothers that sometimes it's very unfortunate to have senior women saying, but you know, all women go through it. You know you bear it. No. Do not tell our young girls to bear it. I think it's wrong, it's wrong. Yeah? If it has sexual harassment, say this should stop. Do not allow it because they think it's a bad thing. And as a church, we have checked with child protection issues that we have a policy guideline. We have now developed a policy on sexual offences at work, where they call PCA, the sexual exploitation at work. And as a church, we gather they're approving the policy soon. So I think it is a good thing that as a church we're also saying this is not right at workplaces. Nobody should sexual assault.
Everyone should be professional.
Professional.
Reverend, your parting shots.
I want to thank you and Family TV for hosting me this morning, especially talk about the opportunities for girls. I know as a church we are still doing badly in many aspects of involving the girls, especially when I talk about leadership, talk about men engagement. I would like to see more of women and our girls engaged in church ministry, not just as members receiving, but also as participants, as leaders, and at every level. So for me, I would want to, for some of these youth leaders, can I see more girls? You know, we have youth leaders, and most of them are boys. And you say, why are you doing youth leaders who are girls? You have everything almost. Boys decide, dictated. So I think as a church, and I want to encourage church leaders, I want to encourage all parents, let us encourage our girls to come out there, stand out with women. And those of you who are out there already, pull out others. Brenda, if you're here, encourage more girls, encourage more girls. I think I want to see more mentorships. And I believe that for me, the youth ministry and children mentorships are very important. That if you are a mother, you are mentoring your daughter. If you are a father, you're mentoring your son. If you're mentoring someone to be like you, or be like someone that you really admire, and look at who has made it in life. So if you are out there, don't be out there to put others low. Your job is actually to pull them out. I think we can give opportunities when we have empowered our young people to appreciate that they are what they are. God has made them women and ladies, men, because they are able to make it in life.
Wow.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, whoever has been watching us and wherever you've been watching us from. It's been a beautiful morning. Thank you for watching Church of Uganda Family TV, and thank you for following us on all our social media platforms. I remain Brenda Mahooro. Thank you. Have a beautiful day and have a lovely day. Let's meet again tomorrow. Same time, same day, same station.
Reverend, yes we can. We can clear the debt of church house. And I want to invite you to give generously to the love gift. May God bless you as you give.